Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Chakras and Cusswords podcast. My name is Catherine, and I'm your host. If you are new here, I welcome you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you found this podcast. I'm glad you found us in our little collective circle, our little bubble that we like to call Chakras and Cusswords podcast, where we center on everything energy, alchemy, spiritualism, self-help, and even a little bit of conspiracies. I definitely dive into the chakra energy of our interpersonal energy sources and also the area of astrology, because I do believe that astrological energy really does affect the collective, and it also affects us, how we perceive this world, how we deal with certain obstacles and modern day chaos that tends to come up. So I'm happy you're here. We are going to dive into this upcoming new moon. So we have a new moon that is occurring. And this new moon, this new cycle of new energy is occurring on the 27th, I believe. Let me see. Let me pull up this chart. So I have the chart from the Astrology Cafe website, which is an astrology cafe that I love their charts. So easy to use. And it lets me pull up the date of certain aspects, and the one that we are looking at is the new moon in Taurus that is occurring on April 27th of 2025 at 3:31 Eastern Standard Time. Oh, if it was just 3:33, that would be so mystical and magical. Everybody would be like, oh my goodness, this is an angel moon. This is an angel new moon. And it is occurring in 7 degrees of Taurus, and it has an energy that feels very vibracious. So let's get into this new moon. So new moons, the new cycle begins with a new moon. It's our entryway of new energy and new intentions. This new moon marks the end of Aries season, the new moon cycle that started off very fiery. I would say the Aries season felt very fiery. And when we look at the date and the degree that is occurring on 7 degrees, the energy of Taurus, the people who are going to be impacted the most with this new moon will definitely be the energies of people who have fixed sign degrees, meaning your degree is somewhere around 4 to 12 is a fixed sign degree, and then also zodiacs and personal placements of fixed degrees. So fixed degrees are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. These energies are all considered to be centered around the modality of being fixed, while they all have their own element versus earth, fire, water, and air. They are all fixed in certain ways that they contribute and also release some of their energy cycles. The intentions for this new moon, of course, it's definitely important to take in intentions that feel right with you, that take in intentions that feel centered around movement on your collective, on your family, on your personal space, whatever it is that your goals are currently, or maybe you're getting structured around some obstacles that you felt during this Aries season between the last new moon and now this new moon, that you're deciding, I'm going to be a little bit more grounded. So definitely grounding is one of the goals, the idea of committing to certain goals and energies related to comfort, stability, and also situations of possible material gains. And the reason why I'm saying material gains is because the Taurus has that representation of loving everything a little bit materialistic. And I'm actually doing a podcast, which will occur. I already recorded the podcast, but it will occur I will release it after the new moon in Taurus, but I wanted to do a podcast solely on the new moon in Taurus, but we will be diving into the zodiac of Taurus fully. So if that's something that you're into, you want to learn more about the zodiacs, I highly recommend you check out my astrology series on my YouTube channel, where we talk about all the planets, the alignments, the area of the elements, the area of asteroids, conjunctions, squares. Is basically to help people learn astrology where they can use it on possibly reading their own birth chart, seeing how this energy relates in everyday, I guess you could say, practices, daily activities, see how they can use astrological energy towards their benefit. And yeah, it's in chronological order on the YouTube. It's also on the podcast, but it won't be in chronological order. So definitely check out that playlist. I will try to put the playlist in the show notes if you're listening to it in the podcast, but I even dive into the history of astrology, some of the most famous astrologers, and so on. So we're definitely going to look at this area of stability. And we also want to dive into our areas of intentions, or as some might say, creating rituals around simple pleasures, the pleasures of life, the pleasures of every day, which could be good food, like the Taurus is a foodie, also that energy of being centered around earth, so I would say gardening, and also positivity around the body. Positivity around the body is always a challenge, and somebody who is older, I'm gonna say I'm a little bit older than probably some of you little baby cosmic baddies. I've had some challenges. I've had some energies of being in a new stage in life. So when you grow older, you see an awareness with your body. You see an awareness with how you feed your body. You see an awareness of how you take in certain cycles of being present in your body. And this can also occur with people who are maybe going through some things, going through some energies of maybe they're trying to lose weight, or maybe they're trying to learn better eating habits, or maybe they've been feeling very stressed. Stress on the body not only has emotional, but it also has physical properties as well, where people might experience that, and they might experience how certain stressors have changed how they also perceive their body, how their body's feeling, and so on. What's also interesting is when we talk about this new moon in Taurus, we also want to look at areas that reflect and make us feel secure. So the Taurus is known for stability. It is definitely a root chakra based zodiac. And I know so many of you are like, how do you understand which chakras are very root based? So the Taurus is a earth sign, meaning that that chakra is usually tied in very well with the Taurus persona. Also, the Taurus rules the area of the throat and the neck. So that chakra that is aligned with the Taurus would be voice, the throat, and the neck. A lot of times with the throat chakra, there might be areas of instability with maybe communication. People don't feel secure enough to speak up, or they actually feel quite secure with their throat chakra, and now they want to use this chakra, this energy source, to create something that feels more abundant. It feels more broad. It feels more centered around the magic of the Taurus. And when we are looking at the energy of financial and also areas of intentions and materialistic things, we have to use our hidden talents, which in some areas of astrology would also be known as our south node. So if you do have your birth chart and you want to look at some of your hidden talents, I would definitely look to see where your Mercury is placed and also where is your south node placed. So you want to look at this area of reflection where you feel secure emotionally and financially, especially with this new moon. This new moon is all about setting new intentions and understanding that we have to work hard, because a Taurus works hard, honey. A Taurus ain't fucking lazy. I mean, most of the Tauruses I know, they might be a little bit stubborn. They might be a little bit like, no, I don't want to do that, but they aren't necessarily lazy. Okay. And I'm not saying that people are lazy, but some people definitely are go-getters, and some people definitely will show up consistently, where versus some people will not. They'll be like, no, I'm tired of doing that. I don't want to do it. I'm just going to chill here in my house. But a Taurus understands that structure, and we're going to use that energy of this celestial body to reevaluate our areas of where we are emotionally and also financially tied into certain situations that could be either feeding our purpose or leaving us distracted. So it is really centered around areas of success, areas of loyalty, and dedication. So the key to most problems being solved is putting energy into that aspect. For instance, if some of your situations or obstacles have been success with, let's say, money, or success with, let's say, fitness, or your goals around your eating habits, or your goals around like your relationship, you have to understand is where you put that money, where you put that get up and go to work out, where you put that energy at, if it's whatever it is, that energy is most likely to grow. It's like planting a seed into the earth, as the Taurus would say, and having that gardener mentality. I plant this seed, that doesn't mean I could just leave it here and never go back to it. I have to plant the seed, I have to water it, I have to fertilize it, I have to make sure that the hard conditions aren't ruining my little baby plant that's growing. I have to take care of it, I have to recheck on it, I have to reevaluate it. And that is something that we have to learn, especially with areas of success. And that is something that the Taurus and a lot of Taurus energy has us centered with, especially with this new moon. So the money mindset almost creates an area of new reset and intentions that the Taurus brings. And I know so many people are like, oh, money mindset. We're so burnt out on this whole hustle, 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 culture. And I totally get it. A lot of people are. A lot of people are, and especially I feel like some of the newer generation is just like, oh my goodness, oh wow, woo, but a lot of us Gen Xers were raised by baby boomers, and baby boomers were all about hustle, hustle, work, 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 make money, da 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 da, success, 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 possessions, relationships with money, and all those things. But what baby boomers did was they allowed us Gen Xers to work like crazy, have this mentality to work like crazy. Some of us Gen Xers pass this on to our lineage, where we've noticed that this might not be right for everybody, right? To work, 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 hustle, 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 and to have this money mindset to do all the things unless it feels worthy to you. So for instance, I will tell you, happiness does not come from having all the things, having all the money, having all the successors. So we definitely want to see how we can use this area of success, how we can use this area of creating more success, if it could be wealth, abundance, if it could be centered around personal possessions, career goals, strategies, and use it, but also have a way of taking in new areas of softening our life, living a little bit more comfortable, not living so stressed, not living so to the point of breaking where it's like, I have to pick up that extra shift. I have to, get a job by this date, or else I'm going to be kicked out, right? So we have to work on areas of savings. So when we say, and I know things are so expensive now, say like, look, I have this energy. I have this money put away, or I have areas where I don't need to go to the grocery store. I don't need to eat steak. I don't need to eat all these things and live a more life that seems more suitable to yourself. Also, with this Taurus energy and this new moon energy, gardening would be an amazing investment. Starting a garden, starting a vegetable garden, you could spend like anywhere from $1 to $3 on a bell pepper or on tomatoes. But if you had tomatoes from your yard, if you had some areas where you could just go outside and save just a couple dollars from your own garden, and it would give you so much reflection. It would give you so much gratitude that this was something that you created, this was something that you used for yourself, and you have that movement with you, right? You have that energy with you. Also, using this energy to also save and see how you can save money and invest in certain aspects, if that's even as something as coupon clipping. And what's interesting is I go to a grocery store who a lot of people would say is kind of expensive. And there's a couple reasons why I go to this grocery store. Number one, I know where everything's at. And I'm one of those people who I hate going grocery shopping and I don't know where everything's at. It's close to my house. And I feel like I'm a regular there, right? Because I do a majority of the cooking. I probably cook about 5 to 6 days a week. Most of the time, probably like 5 days a week. And I usually cook after I get home from work. And I know a lot of people from the grocery store because I do my big grocery shopping once a week. But everybody's like, oh, that store is so expensive. I'm like, well, I only buy what's on sale. And I plan I plan a lot of my meals around what's on sale, which sounds crazy, but to me, it makes sense. Like if the chicken's on sale, there's a good chance I'm going to buy a lot of chicken. And if the meat is on sale, then I might buy a lot of meat. If, whatever's on sale is kind of how I plan my meals. And I do the coupon clipping from their app and then I save it. So there's been a lot of times where they've actually paid me because they do like a bonus program. So I've gone to the register and have had $30, $40 off because I literally shop for groceries so fucking much that they were like, here's some money back. You're a loyal customer. So see how you can use this energy to save. Also, one of the things that I want to say too is when we are making money and making success and making areas around abundance is sometimes we have to remember that money isn't the joy of all happiness. I actually took a pay cut when I left the emergency room. So when I left the emergency room as a nurse, a lot of people know that I am a nurse, that when I left the emergency room, I did it for multiple reasons. I did it for work-life balance. I also did it because I wasn't feeling connected with the practice of nursing on a spiritual and also on a level that felt right with me. There was a lot of times where I just felt like this isn't why I went to nursing school, to be to be centered around just constant emergencies. Like I needed a point of kind of like taking a slower pace, and I needed some time to definitely reflect on everything that I was taking in. There were times that literally we would have a code and something would occur tragic for a family. And me being an empath, it's very hard to create that energy of where you don't take it in internal. And I just felt like I needed to I did it for 10 years and I just needed to step away. And when I took my new position, I did take a pay cut because even though I got a promotion, I also had a second job, which a lot of people don't know. I had a second job that I was there for like 7 years as a nurse. And since I worked 12s, it was very easy for me to keep a second job. But since I was going to a different shift, I decided to take the 8-hour shift and 5 days a week and allow myself more of a balanced lifestyle than working the 2 jobs. And when I did this, it did create a pay cut in my salary, but I feel like it helped me emotionally, spiritually, and it also helped me in ways with my relationship, ways with my family, being able to, cook for my family and not having to worry about like, did anybody like make dinner at 7:30 at night or coming home late. I just personally feel like for me, it gave me a lot more opportunities to have the weekends off and to kind of structure my day, even though I lost somewhat of a pay, difference or pay cut. So you have to find that area of what really makes you happy, what really brings that joy to life. There's definitely some challenging aspects when we look at this new moon. There's an energy around a square with Mars and Pluto, and this could bring up tension. This can also bring up some power struggles with not just us, but with also our collective and our family. So if we are feeling restless, it is going to be definitely time that we try to use that throat chakra and communicate it in a way that feels a little bit more positive. We also have to remember that when we have such energy that feels a little bit of an obstacle, centered around transformation, centered around new intentions, emotional frictions, or hidden motives, we definitely want to look at how we can use this to create some fresh starts, like planting seeds to long-term goals. So definitely be a little bit centered around that movement. Energies of rituals, I would definitely say, since this is centered around 7 degrees, I feel like educating yourself in ways that you can feel aligned with certain investments, certain intentions, certain areas around growth. You're going to want to ground, you're going to want to create meditations, you're going to want to be centered around affirmations. Also, if you are really, really centered in areas of rituals, I would definitely use some energy to create a garden, definitely to create the area of getting earthy with your presence. If that means collecting stuff for your altar, if that means collecting stuff from certain areas of abundance, I definitely would work on areas of mindset around success. So saying certain affirmations that are tied into I attract financial stability, abundance, and I have an ease with confidence. Money flows to me easily. I release and I see prosperity in return. So you could do some money spells. You could also do some areas of stability with finding a routine that strengthens your presence. So I would definitely see this as an area that you can create some movement towards new intentions. And one ritual that you could do is basically a energy that feels aligned with creating intentions. So I would get a candle. Definitely, I would get a candle that would be tied into the areas of the green chakra, which is the heart chakra, and it's also kind of tied into the presence of earth. If you wanted to use a red candle, that would be more centered around passion, but definitely a green candle. You can write your areas of intentions, three intentions on a paper, hold something that grounds it. For instance, you could hold like a crystal to it. If you have a green avertrine or a rose quartz or a smoky quartz, you can hold these intentions, hold the crystal, hold it close to you. Also, if you did want to take this and bury it, you could bury it or place it somewhere earthly, like in one of your potted plants. You could place it like in your plants. A lot of my plants have a lot of crystals all around them. Also, you could create some energy around abundance and prosperity by using a green candle for abundance, a bay leaf, or a cinnamon stick. Cinnamon sticks are used for usually for abundance, but some people also use it for protection. You also have to remember that you want to protect your energy as well. You can use some type of pin or carving tool, and you can write some type of affirmations. You could write your name by money signs. You could definitely see different ways that you can use this energy. I like mint. I also like bay leaves. You want to dress this up with some type of oil. You could use like olive oil. You could sprinkle cinnamon. You could sprinkle some type of green bay leaf onto it, and you allow that energy to run to you. A lot of people use money. As some of you guys know, I do have a money jar, and also I do use a lot of actual money. If this is a coin, if this is a dollar, whatever it is, allow that money to flow to you easily. A lot of people will put cinnamon on the coin, and then they will speak affirmations as I am abundant, I am worthy, I am ready to accept all things in success. All things that give me, you could say, wealth. And remember, health is wealth as well. Keep the bay leaf, or keep this area of coin in your wallet or on your grounds. When I mean on your grounds, this would be around your house or somewhat kind of near the area that you are. You're also going to want to burn the candle, visualize money coming to you, visualize the energy moving forward. Another good ritual is something that I believe a celebrity did. I can't remember if it was Jim Carrey, who wrote himself a blank check. And you can do this as well. So you could get a real life check. If you have a checking account, go ahead and get yourself a real life check. You can also get a template of a check if for whatever reason you don't have checks. And I will say that if you write a real blank check, it's a little bit better. You could take the blank piece of this check or template, and you could put new moon, you could put Taurus new moon check, or in the memo, you want to write this check out to yourself, and you're going to write the money amount that you would like to have received, that you also would like to have saved, which you would like to have in your inter place, your inter circle, your inter perspective. If that's $1 million, if that's $1,000, if that's $500, whatever it is, just an additional amount of money that puts you in, the right steps, that helps you get a little bit more aligned. And there's definitely some things that you could do. You could put a little bit of peppermint essential oil, a little couple of drops, but the step is to write a date on the top of this check. And of course you don't want it to be like a week from now. I mean, maybe you want it to be from a week from now, but really you want it to give it some area of loyalty and consistency, so that it could be like a month from now. But if you want to really create a big check, it might be a year from now, right? It could be the next new moon. And you're going to fill it out to yourself. You're going to say, pay order to me. You're going to write the exact amount of what it is that you want to be paid in full. And the memo, it will basically to be have financial freedom, have abundance, have more areas of intention. And you're going to sign it by yourself. You're going to sign it by the universe. You're going to keep this check with you. You're going to keep it in your wallet. You're going to keep it on your altar. You're going to keep it until the next full moon. And the purpose is to basically see how you've received this money, the steps that you've made to put you in the new direction to receive it. Another good ritual for a new moon in Taurus, because the Taurus is all about sweetening life, making everything a little bit more magical, beautiful, and a little bit more sweeter, is to create a jar or a sweetening jar for abundance. So a lot of people love to make honey jars to make them a little bit sweeter so people sweeten up towards them, but also you want to have it around abundance, where abundance attracts to you, the money flows to you quite easy. So you're going to get it like a small jar, a mason jar, any type of container that feels beautiful to you, and you're going to put some honey or sugar in there, and you're also going to write on a small piece of paper your name and some of your money goals. You're going to use cinnamon, basil, or even a coin, or you could even use real dollars. I like dollars, but you do it however you want. You're going to write your name, your intentions, and you're going to say that you attract sweet and steady streams of income. Money flows to me easy. Fold it towards you. Remember, anytime we're taking in intentions, we want to fold it towards you, preferably 3 times. Place it in the jar and pour the honey and sugar all over it. And you know me, I say you go big with those dollars, but do what feels right with you, affordably, right? Because once you pour the honey and sugar over it, babe, it's not going to be easy to get that money out and wipe it up if you really do need it. So definitely add your spice, your coin, your tiny piece of like a green crystal or object. If you're using cinnamon for protection to seal it in. And as it seals in, you could say something like, I attract an income of sweet abundance. So allowing that sweetness to really come to you. You want to keep it on your altar. You want to keep it somewhere safe. Whenever you want to kind of activate the money, or you activate this area of intention, some people like to tap it. Some people also like to shake it, kind of swirl it around, see what it's doing, make sure it doesn't get like moldy, but definitely look at it, enjoy it. So if you don't want to use actual honey and sugar because you're scared, I will tell you the most important part is you make sure that it's sealed and it doesn't get wet, and it should be okay. Hopefully you don't have ants in your house, but you're definitely going to say these affirmations like, I am a magnet of wealth. I'm always have more than enough. Money flows to me. Money loves me. That's one of my favorite. And take in those intentions while the visualization. So let's get into a small quick reading for the zodiacs, for the elements, and I will do a very, very quick reading. I am using 2 decks today. I am using an oracle deck. It's funny because I was like, I'm gonna use this one deck, and then subconsciously I picked up this other deck, which very interesting. So I'm going to use the one that I subconsciously picked up, and that is, I believe, the Starseed Oracle deck, and then also I am using the Crow Tarot. So we're going to dive deep into the Tarot first, and then the Oracle. Tarot is one of those things that sometimes, we hear some hidden areas of shadow, we hear some areas of reflection that we need to hear before we create our intentions. So let's get into it. The first zodiacs that I'm reading for is the fire element, the fire signs. If you are Sagittarius, if you are a Leo, if you are a Aries, you are a fire sign. Oh man, so this is definitely a time to create intentions towards success, and also create intentions towards wealth, abundance, and being grounded. I also want you to look at areas of not just the throat chakra, but also areas of clarity. This is a time to move freely with the wisdom that you've been given, but also to move freely in understanding the decisions that you make are right for you. There might be some areas where you're having some judgment upon yourself. Allow that that judgment to clear away before you create more intentions. But you are definitely brave. You are centered in this movement that works for you. This is also a time for you to dive deep into the area of the maternal, also to dive deep into seeing that birth is a portal. It is a new energy source. So you could create areas of new intentions around the energy of that portal. So for instance, if that means healing some mother wounds, if that means healing some interpersonal wounds with maybe your own children, maybe some of your siblings, maybe some of the feminine in your life, you're going to want to look at that. Also creating intentions that are centered around understanding the deep love that the feminine has for not just certain individuals in their life, but also certain individuals in the collective. So being centered around the feminine, the ancestors, also seeing the energy of fertility, of birth coming, and using that energy to create a patience, create intentions, and create movement. But you definitely, some good energy, some areas of intentions should be moving forward for these fire signs. For the water signs, if you are a water sign, you are a Scorpio, you are a Cancer, or you are a Pisces. For the water signs, clear it away, let go of it. Definitely some heartbreak may have occurred, maybe some energy of feeling like it just didn't work out, or feeling like reflection, saying goodbye to old situations, saying goodbye to old people, saying goodbye to old events, allowing that water element to clear away. I definitely feel for the water signs that there is an energy of clarity that needs to kind of resign within us and to feel aligned within us, to understand and also to accept certain things that have occurred or certain areas of movement that have occurred. Could it be some of our own negative traits? Could it be some of our own traits that allowed our shadow to take full presence versus the energy of movement, right? We have to remember that not everything is love and light all the time. Allowing our shadow state to be seen sometimes makes us feel a little bit, a little bit unproud, right? Sometimes we feel a little bit unproud when that shadow starts to rattle its feathers, when that shadow starts to swim to the surface. But allowing that shadow to learn, and allowing that respect of the shadow, of understanding why the shadow has done this, why the shadow has moved this, why you as your own shadow felt comfortable to be centered in that space. Also with the water signs, when we are seeing areas of clarity, we also want to look at sharing our communication. So I definitely feel like there's some energy that needs to be centered for the water signs, definitely around water for this card. And I love when the water elements work with water, because that is something that just goes so easily. Work with the water and also work with the elders. You're also going to want to share your areas of communication, as one might say, sharing your frequency of sound, your harmony of that throat chakra, diving deep into the areas of reflection and clearing is very positive for the water signs for this new moon. For the earth signs, if you are a earth sign, you are a Taurus, you are a Capricorn, and you are a Virgo. So for the earth signs, we're definitely going to be centered around creating around the home. We're also going to be centered around using that root chakra. What's very interesting is a lot of the cards that I'm pulling, I see a lot of energy around a lot of these elements of each zodiac. It's kind of interesting. So I will take a picture. I'll definitely try to take a picture for the signs so you guys can see it in the podcast for those who watch the YouTube channel or Spotify. Spotify shows the video format. Also, I will post the photos on my Instagram like I usually do. So for the earth signs, this is definitely a time that you are going to be wanting centered around the home. You're going to want to use that through chakra, of course, with areas of the Taurus, but also the area of the root chakra and the sacral as well. You're going to want to see your intentions. You're going to want to see your abundance on creating success. A lot of times success starts with the home. And while we can have some home challenges, we also want to be centered around the movement that the home life brings, the area of the inner child, the energy of the inner healing, the inner space, moving forward and creating success. I definitely think success in areas of wealth, abundance, and career are shifting towards you. Also, the energy around family is shifting towards you on creating new purposes and movements. Also, this is a good time for your life to be seen as a beautiful picture. Sometimes it feels like our artistic nature, our areas of creativity, our areas of manifestation, of abundance, it just feels like, oh, is this really a picture? Is this really a portrait? Is this really a heaven? Is this really that area of movement? So I do want the definitely for the root signs, which are the earth signs, to get rooted with their creativity. So that means in enlightening, feeling stable, feeling creative, allowing that sacral chakra, the energy of your creative space, to speak to the solar plexus chakra to create those intentions around it. Also, manifesting is like one of those spiritual words that just is like, oh my God, the law of manifestation, the law of seeking, the law of it retrieving to you. Allow it to effortlessly, and allow it to by acknowledging your own creative accountability. So if you aren't creating, we're not going to see the energy of the creations coming back towards you, right? Because to have energy being released, putting your energy to where you want it to grow, will allow for that growth to occur. But if we aren't creating towards this energy, if this is art, if this is a project, if this is maybe new energy around the home, whatever it is that speaks to you, allowing that accountability to see the reflection of why this possibly has not occurred, right? Why the stability and consistency may have been lacking. For the air signs, the air signs. If you are an air sign, you are a Gemini, you are a Libra, and you are an Aquarius. The air signs are about to feel a shift of being in their creator space. The creator space, the solar plex, the area of success, the area of the sun energy speaks volume. Moving forward, using that consistency to continue to ground, seeing the peace. Now, if you feel like the solar plex energy has been very, very, very strong, maybe it's been too strong, maybe it's been too driven, and you're like, fuck, I need a fucking break, right? You're going to want to allow that energy to take in the softer side. I will be honest, I am going to work on a podcast about the softer side, the softer elements of life. Because sometimes the softer side, you're like, oh, I'm taking this energy of the softer side. And then you're like, oh, am I depressed? And for some people, and especially with the masculine energies, which would be the fire signs and the air signs, we are one of those people who kind of thrive a little bit well on chaos. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm being soft. I'm enjoying this self-care. I'm enjoying this softer side, but now I'm feeling like I haven't been productive. And sometimes when we're so productive, it leaves us burnt out. out. So we have to remember to allow that softer side, to really take that presence, to allow that warrior, that loyalty, that consistency that we've been having in our areas of creation, to also acknowledge the area of peace and silence and area of passion, but definitely moving in a direction that feels nicely balanced as the Libra, and also the area of the Taurus and the throat chakra loves that harmonious element to occur. Also, for the air signs, we are seeing our potential and we are bringing that area of the unconscious to light. So, when we are bringing that energy of the unconscious to light, we will definitely see the potential that it brings towards us, see the movement that occurs, and will feel aligned with it. And allowing that clearing, allowing the conscious light to take in our own atmosphere. So I want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want to give me some gratitude, as one might say, filling up my cup, would be to definitely hit the rate button. Give me a 5-star rating. I've been working on my grammar, people. The loyals get it. And the OG the OG cosmic baddies get it. But so definitely take this time to share a beautiful rating, share this podcast with your witchy bestie, with your Taurus bestie, with anybody who's centered around the areas of new movement, of new prosperity, and this new moon in Taurus. And everybody have an amazing day and some new intentions. Bye.